Good morning. Welcome to the MEDEX graduation. We're glad you're all here. Would you please join me in standing and welcoming MEDEX Class 48. Please be seated. Again, I want to welcome you to the MEDEX graduation. My name is Terry Scott. I'm the program director for the MEDEX program. Today's a big day for everyone. I want to take a few moments and say a few words and kind of review what the schedule for today or this morning is going to be like. First of all, I want to congratulate all the graduates. You made it. You made it. A journey like this doesn't begin upon entering the program, and it's just been a few years ago that we were sitting and getting introduced to one another as applicants to the program. And while it may, in some sense, it seems relatively quick, 26, 27 months, and also at the same time, it was a very long 26, 27 months. As a graduate of this program, I want to say welcome to the other side of this and to the alumni side of things. I'm looking forward to seeing your careers unfold. You guys represent the future of this profession, the future of this program in the sense of representing the MEDEX program in the communities at which you will go and practice and serve. But getting here does not happen in a void. In the audience are individuals, spouses, parents, significant others, children who supported you long before you entered into the program. Getting to the MEDEX program or doing something of this significance takes a lot of effort. And none of us does this alone. So I'd like for the graduates to stand up, turn to the audience, and acknowledge those in the audience who have supported you over the last couple of years. So let's see. I think during the interview, when you guys were applicants to the program, we talked about entering into a relationship. when we first started, do you remember the day of interviews? I can still remember mine. It's been over 25 years ago now. We entered into a relationship. Now you've done the 2 years with us, and now I don't know what the next step is, but you guys are about ready to go out into the world. And I can say that on behalf of the MEDEX faculty and staff, we're very proud of each and every one of you. You represent a commitment to service to community, to service to others. Our nation, our world, and our region have individuals who are suffering and in need of healthcare providers who care. Caring goes beyond the intellect, but caring reaches into the heart and says, do I care enough about my fellow human being's condition to want to make a difference? And I am proud to sit here as your program director and say that we're about to graduate a set of students from Seattle here that are going to be out there and be the foot soldiers on the front line of delivering health care to the individuals in our country, in our region, and in our world. So we've got a very full agenda for you, so I'm just going to briefly review this. We're going to have some welcoming remarks from some dignitaries, and of particular note, we're honored to be offering for the first time the Stephen Turnipseed Veterans Award, and we're fortunate to have Mr. Turnipseed, a graduate of the first class of Seattle, to be presenting that award that's named after him. MEDEX will be celebrating its 50th anniversary in a couple of years, in 2019. And for those, I hope you all return. We're planning a big shindig in the region, and so I hope that you all will, as graduates, come back and celebrate with us as we celebrate that 50th anniversary. But we actually have a graduate of Class 1 here presenting a Veterans Award. So you'll hear more about from him later. We're going to meet some student leaders and speakers. We're going to present some awards that have been to students that have been selected by the faculty. These are going to be surprises, so the students don't actually know who these individuals are until these awards are announced. And then we're going to award these certificates. While this is a formal ceremony, MEDEX prides itself in its informality. So while family members and friends are sitting in the audience, when your graduate comes up here and receives an award or receives their certificate, feel free to come down and take that once-in-a-lifetime photo as a momentum of this occasion. We're also going to ask the graduates, as we get done here this morning, to get one last photo of your cohort up on stage. Because it will join a photo, and that's a gallery of photos of the last 50 years, almost 50 years of graduates that have graduated from the program. Your photo will join that group of distinguished graduates as well. So that's the agenda for the morning. So MEDEX is a significant part of the University of Washington School of Medicine. We're actually one of the sections in the Department of Family Medicine, and we're very fortunate to have the acting chair, Dr. Matthew Thompson, here to bring a welcome on behalf of the School of Medicine and the department. Dr. Thompson has been a very strong supporter of the MEDEX program, and we are happy to have him here, so let's give him a warm welcome. Dr. Thompson.
Thanks very much, Terry, and I'm truly honored and delighted to be here. This is a really special day for all of you and all of us. So on behalf of friends, faculty, graduates today, and their kids and probably pets out there, I'm really honored to be standing here before you. So let me extend a further welcome from the University of Washington. So the University of Washington, where we are now, we are the 11th best university in the world. Better than that, amongst state, I'm going to spread a round of applause. So when you see those 12th man signs, that's someone else, I guess. But better than that, amongst state institutions or public universities, we're number 3. That's pretty darn good. And even better than that, we are number 1 in this country for family medicine, primary care, and rural health. So that is an amazing. So it's true to say you are all graduating from the number 1 place in the country, maybe the world. So that's pretty darn good. You should be very proud of what you've achieved. So, as Terry mentioned, I've been a very strong supporter of physician assistants. I've been working with physician assistants for decades now, including Terry. And you are joining over 100,000 physician assistants practicing in the country here. And PAs make a significant contribution, particularly to primary care. Nearly half of PAs work in primary care settings, and we have over 2,500 of you working in the state here. So we're very proud of keeping many of you here in our region and keeping many of you in primary care and those kind of settings. So you're joining a very well-established and significant part of our health workforce here in the country. So, you know, graduation's a special day, and you've been learning a lot from many of the lecturers and faculty and others in your clinical sites. But now it's maybe time to think about, well, what are you going to do out there in the world? Because, you know, I think we need your help. We've just enjoyed watching a really nice Olympic Games, which went off pretty well, apart from the green swimming pool and the swimmers trashing a gas station. But apart from that, the US came out top. We had gold medals across the board. But you know, for healthcare, we're not in gold medal position. We're not in silver. We're not even bronze. There's lots of work to be done out there to make our healthcare system here better. And it's an issue of too much and too little. We're doing often too much of the wrong things, which either cost lots of money, they're not providing good value, patients aren't happy, they can't get the care they need. On the other hand, we're not doing some of the really important basic stuff which we know makes a difference, like good preventive care or primary care, and providing best evidence-based practice. So you out there, as you go out into your new profession and start seeing patients, you might start thinking, what can I do? I'm just one PA amongst this huge multi-billion dollar healthcare system. Well, you guys can do a lot. Think of this. There's what, 41 people graduating today? If you each see maybe about 15 patients a day, 3 or 4 days a week, 44 weeks a year, you need some time for vacation. Over the next 20 years, between you all, you will see 4 million patients. Okay? That's more than half the population of this state. So it's going to be up to you to make difference every time you see a patient, every time you come across our politicians and leaders and policymakers who've kind of created this system. It's going to be up to you to do that, and you can do it. It's in your hands. So when I get sick and Terry gets sick and all of us get sick, we're going to be asking you to say, hey, what have you done for the healthcare system? I've been a clinician for about 25 years now. I've worked in this country, United Kingdom, and Africa. And if someone is to say, what are the 2 most important things I've learned being a clinician, seeing thousands of patients, not millions, thousands of patients myself, I think there's 2 things. So one is being humble. You know, you take off these trappings and these hoods and our white coats. At the end of the day, you're in a room with a patient in a very special relationship. They're sharing amazing details with you. They're coming to you to help. Being humble is what patients seek from us. They don't seek our clever They don't seek our clever degrees or our trappings. They seek the humbleness of you wanting to help a fellow human being. So keeping things humble. And as Muhammad Ali said, it's hard to be humble when you're as great as I am. So you're great, but you've got to be humble. You've got to be humble. The second is never stop learning. So although you've spent the last couple of years and before that engaged in reading books, reading handouts, looking at PowerPoints, reading on the internet and everything, it's only just beginning. It's only just beginning. Every patient you see every day is a learning experience. You've got to never stop questioning. Even some of the things we've been teaching you, question them. Ask yourself, is this the right thing to do? Do I need to update myself? Do I need to improve my game? You've got to never stop. You never stop learning. As Einstein said, intellectual growth should commence at birth and ceases only at death. So you've certainly all been born into the MEDEX program now. Your learning is only going to continue. And so those 2 things, being humble and remembering this is a lifelong learning enterprise you're part of. So listen, finally, let me congratulate you again. Let me welcome you to the School of Medicine and the Department of Family Medicine. I hope you enjoyed the day, and we're really looking forward to having you as graduates and part of the physician assistant community. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm pleased to introduce Seattle Class 48 Class President Ariel Turner. She will be introducing the class officers and the class speakers.
So I had my opportunity to be in the spotlight last night and for the past 2 years. But one last thank you to my class for nominating and electing me. It's been quite the journey, and I've really enjoyed it. So I'll gladly pass on the microphone to Mr. Mickey Kander and Ms. Sunshine Pillay.
There's a lot of you. Good morning. I have the privilege of making remarks on behalf of a phenomenal and brilliant group of students, MEDEX Class 48. Students who have anticipated this moment likely from the time they began coursework in the T building. In the beginning, we were exposed to a sort of summer camp of health science. We first heard Dr. Evans talk about the way our bodies compensate for being in the desert, how name tags can prevent unwanted health outcomes, and of course, Curator's unsolicited advice. For those of you in the audience who were not part of those initial forays into our class, Kira provided us with a series of fortune cookie sayings during our first few weeks of class. They were simple mantras that were intended to help us prepare for what lay ahead. I want to describe to you each of those nuggets given to us and how we made good on every one. Number one, be thankful. This wasn't the school fishing for a compliment about how students should be grateful that we got into the program. Rather, it was instructive in how we should be thankful to those around us as we embarked upon this journey. Partners, mothers, fathers, children, brothers, sisters, best friends, acquaintances, and in some cases, the kindness of strangers helped us get through. When we struggled to believe in ourselves, we were lucky enough to have thoughtful and kind people be there to pick us up when we were down, as well as to celebrate our victories. If you are one of those people, you may have questioned our ability to demonstrate our appreciation for you in the last 2 years. However, I think I can speak for all of us when I say that you are our rocks, and that without you, we would not be here today. Number two, be family, and that is what we were. There were several members of our class who lamented in the beginning about applying multiple times to MEDEX before being accepted into the program. While I do not deny that the feeling of not being a part of MEDEX is distressing, what these students did not realize is that the reason they did not get in at the time was because their family was waiting for them in Class 48, and that we were waiting in the wings to embrace them. 48 is a class of lovers, occasional fighters, but mostly lovers. And every one of us belonged in our group. There isn't a student escaping today that does not have a lifelong friend in this room right now sitting next to them. Number three, be a sponge. This was a reference to our ability to soak up details and information about assessment, diagnosis, care, and treatment of ailments. That ability was often questionable in the last 2 years, given the late nights, excessive carbohydrates and coffee consumption, and veritable mountains of material to digest. I once heard a friend in our class say she felt like she needed to do the entire first year over, again so she could pass a test, but that she wasn't so sure when a live person would be in front of her. Turned out not to be true. She, like the rest of us, persevered, and was able to apply what was learned in that first year to primary care, emergency rooms, inpatient settings, and surgery. Number 4, be healthy. There was a lot of incentive to be nothing of the sort. When groceries were few, it was easy to make up new recipes for hot dogs and those Trader Joe's tamales. Depression could easily set in if we hadn't spoken to our friends in weeks, and physical activity at its worst consisted of furiously typing away on a professional development paper. All that to say, we're alive. Despite PA school's impacts on our bodies and psyche, we can now say we can do anything, and making it through PA school was an exercise in health endurance. Number 5, be organized. Being a hot mess would have been impossible in this program. Preparing for exams, reviewing material, studying until you were in tears, and all while factoring in date nights, friendships, and kids required an incredible amount of maturity and thoughtfulness on your part. For some, the task of being organized was not something that came naturally, and yet every single person found their own method to ensure papers were turned in on time, mostly. Tests were passed with 80%, mostly. And critical reasoning assessments were completed with skill and finesse, mostly. Even if you are the most unorganized student at MEDEX, it only means that you are more organized than 95% of the US population. Number 6, be positive. There were times when we were down, but there were times when we were up. It wasn't just about staying upbeat, it was about having fun. Slumber parties and white salmon, Fleetwood Mac air guitar in the operating room, and an occasional talk with a caring faculty member exhibited the good things about the process of becoming a PA. And who could forget this? We have had this day as our light at the end of the tunnel. Now that we are crossing the finish line, there is even more to be positive about, like passing the pants, malpractice insurance, and non-specific somatic complaints. But most of all, we get to do what we do best, heal patients. Number 7, be community. Karen Wick told us at the beginning of PA school that MEDEX Northwest faculty were unable to connect with us on social media because it constituted a conflict of interest, a dual relationship of being both friends and your instructors. As of 11:30 a.m. this morning, we are officially part of that community. So for those in Class 48, please take out your smartphones, search for Terry Scott on Facebook. Unfortunately, Karen Wick doesn't have a Facebook page. And friend request him if there's a few, so he's the one that likes fishing and football. And while you're at it, friend Anju Jan too. MEDEX 48 was and is a community within ourselves, holding each other when we were at our worst and celebrating our accomplishments together. And now we get to expand beyond the walls of T483 and become part of the larger PA community. Number 8, last but certainly not least, was be amazed. The initial thought behind this piece of unsolicited advice was from Kira, was to maintain a fascination with medicine and what it could do. We saw deep brain stimulation stop Parkinsonian tremor, and we observed a heart take up new residence in a new body, and it still beat. And we also watched type 2 diabetics put down ice cream because their PCP believed in them. What was also amazing was our perseverance and the commitment to becoming solid and thoughtful clinicians. What some students had to overcome to be here today would have simply stopped others. And that is what is most amazing, is that the commitment to finishing has been realized. At some point today, every one of you should look in the mirror and say what you have done is nothing short of inspiring. So let me be one of the first to say, congratulations, Class 48. You are amazing. Thank you.
Well, that's an act to follow. So I'm honored to be one of our class speakers today, and as I tried to find some deep, motivating words for this, all I could think about is how none of us could be here without all of you, without the love and support of all of the people in our lives. So I really just want to thank everybody, our families, our friends, our faculty, for being here today and for every day over the last 27 months. As Mickey said, without all of you, we could not be here. Over the last couple years, we've missed birthdays, parent-teacher conferences, nights out with friends, date night, exercising, reading for pleasure. I could go on and on. I don't think any of the weddings or births were missed, so that's good. As a child, I walked this campus, past this building, more times than I can count when I went to football games with my dad. And then I knew I wanted to be a Husky. And here we are at our graduation today. When I told my husband that I wanted to apply to PA school, he was all in. And when I told him I was accepted, I think he might have been more excited than I was for myself. Then when I came home from class, picked up that reflex hammer and said, "Sit here. Let me hit you with this," repeatedly. He said, "Sure." And I know many of you have gone through the exact same thing. You've experienced cold stethoscopes, you've been pushed on, pulled on, recited your medical histories over and over and over again. You've had bright lights shined in your eyes more times than most people do in a lifetime. And the entire time, you said, "Go ahead, try again, you've got this." And that was just fall quarter. And to our faculty, Diana, we know you're watching from Canada, and we miss you. I can't help but wonder if we made you question your selections after that first fall quarter meltdown. As you said to our partners in our orientation meeting, we reached that point faster than other classes had. I think that we are just passionate overachievers. But seriously, we are so grateful that you picked us to be Seattle 48. You've been there for us, both collectively and individually, celebrating our successes, supporting us through challenges, and forgiving emails that maybe should have had a breath taken before send was pushed. Class 48, what a group we are. All of our differences made us strong. Some of us have had days that we felt like quitting, days we've struggled. We've had moments when we've wondered if it would all be worth it, questioned our sanities and abilities, but we were determined. We worked together, supported each other, and all rose to the challenges as they were presented, and we had a ton of laughs. We've had so many MEDEX moments since starting this journey, but I think this one being here today at our graduation is by far my favorite, though Dr. Evans in pajama pants and slippers and Anju's hearts are really close seconds. As we close this chapter and begin the next, I ask you to remember what brought you here. What was your why? On day one, Terry Scott said, "When it gets hard, and it will, remember, you asked for this." While that was terrifying to hear at that time, now that we're moving forward, I think that we will find those words useful to remember. As our careers progress, we will have moments of celebration and we'll have moments of frustration. And in those times when you want to pull out your hair and wonder what the heck you were thinking, I ask you to remember your why. Why did you choose this path? I know we all had very good reasons, and we will all have a chance to make even the smallest difference in the lives of our future patients. This has been quite the journey of learning, of honor, of humility, and today we get to graduate. Congratulations, Seattle 48. I could not be any happier to have been on this journey with each and every one of you.
Good morning. It's my distinct pleasure this morning to recognize the military service among our PA graduates. But before we do that, please indulge me with a brief and pertinent historical perspective. In the mid-1960s, physician shortages and uneven distribution of primary care doctors were creating a strain on the nation's healthcare delivery system. At that same time, and despite extensive medical training and experience among military combat medics and corpsmen coming out of the Vietnam War, there was no corresponding civilian healthcare profession where these skilled veterans could make full use of their clinical experiences. A remarkable visionary, Dr. Eugene Stead, Jr., then chairman of the Department of Medicine at the Duke University, believed that a new breed of practitioner could increase consumer access to healthcare services. Thus, he enrolled the first class of former military medics into a new program designed to train physician extenders. In doing so, Dr. Stead developed this new curriculum based partly on the fast-track physician training implemented by the military in World War II. Subsequently, the very first physician assistants graduated in 1967. During my own early military and physician assistant career, I was fortunate to have been mentored by one of those very first physician assistants, PA Victor Germino. In the late 1960s, Dr. Richard Smith also recognized this need, particularly throughout the rural communities of the Pacific Northwest. After receiving funds for a federal demonstration project in 1969, Dr. Smith enrolled the first class of former military medics and corpsmen into the new MEDEX Northwest Physician Assistant Program at the University of Washington in Seattle. Ever since those early years, MEDEX has proudly led the way with the highest percentage of veteran students among civilian PA programs. So as you can see, military veterans have provided a rich tradition and innumerable contributions to the PA profession. So it is with great honor today that I recognize military service among our current graduates, faculty, staff, and those in the audience. So I would ask if all the military veterans among the MEDEX Seattle Class 48 please stand and remain standing to be recognized. Lastly, would all U.S. veterans among the faculty and staff and our guests in the audience please stand and be recognized for your service to country. Thank you very much.
My name is Tim Evans, and I give a lot of lectures. Let me... The saber-toothed tigers have arrived. We've been on this journey together now for over 2 years, and as is true of every single class, you guys are smart and you're hardworking. You really want to do this, and you do it well. And it is the pleasure of my working life to have a chance to go through this journey with you. These 4 days of graduating our 4 different sites here, and then the other 3 are the best days of the year for me by far. So I'm as happy as you are. Well, probably not as happy, but I'm pretty darn happy. When you have students like ours, and you put them somewhere in the general vicinity of knowledge, they will learn it. But we're also privileged to have some really terrific educators, both in the classroom and out in the clinical rotations, who are giving back to their profession and to we're all on the same pathway of learning medicine. We're just at different places in it. And part of the job of all of us is to help bring along the people behind us and give to them as we were given to before them. Each year, the graduating class has the opportunity to select among all of their excellent teachers and preceptors 3 people to recognize for their excellence in teaching, and we present them with the MEDEX Golden Apple Award. And I have the pleasure of presenting these 3 people. I'm not sure if they're all here today. They're all practicing clinicians, and some are from other towns. But if they are here, please come down when I've read your name. Our first recipient is a pathologist in Bellingham, and I will read a few of the comments of the students about Dr. Gary Goldfogle. He was an excellent lecturer, very engaging, and had very good delivery of information at the appropriate level. He is so interesting, which I'm guessing comes from his passion for his profession. And Dr. Goldfogel's style of lecturing was very engaging, and his ability to answer questions in an understandable way was great. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Gary Goldfogel. We will be sure that all three recipients get their golden apples, but this is what it looks like inscribed with their name. So it's a one of a kind. The second recipient is a colleague of mine here at the University Medical Center, Dr. Eric Krause, who's a neurologist here. And some comments from the students. Hands down, Dr. Krause has been one of the best lecturers this year. He is able to pose challenging scenarios and stimulate our thinking. Very intelligent, extremely impressed. We love Dr. Krause. He explains the material well and uncomplicates it for us. It's great that he teaches most of the neuro lectures. And he gets the golden apple from me. And I can tell you from personal experience, Eric Krause is a great clinician and a terrific educator. So please join me in congratulating Dr. Eric Krause. The third recipient is Dr. Nick Valalan, who's an emergency physician in Burien. Student comments included, he had a ton of energy, and he had a great sense of humor. His good mood was infectious. Invite him back. Hire him even. Give him the golden apple now. This guy knocked it out of the park. Super well delivered and easy to understand. Great job in lecture style. He is a very engaging lecturer. He is a class favorite. I loved his skilled use of technology and the way he simplifies challenging concepts. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Nick Valalan.
Good morning. John Quincy Adams said about leadership, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. All of you are leaders because all of you had a dream to go to PA school. All of you have definitely learned more, and I'm super excited to see all of you do more and become more. Today I am honored to be presenting the John Coombs Leadership Award. Dr. Coombs was the Associate Dean for Regional Affairs and Rural Health in the School of Medicine and had a long record of promoting the PA profession. This award is presented to the students in each training site who have become role models to their peers, have assumed some of the leadership responsibilities during their training, and have carried out those responsibilities with integrity, cooperation, and understanding. The student who will be receiving this award has embraced her role as a leader. She has performed well academically. She has inspired her class to participate and become more involved in PA Week. She led 100% student participation in AAPA student membership. She helped initiate a service learning project and consistently supported this. She attended WAPA and AAPA conferences, and she helped organize a Challenge Bowl team to compete at the AAPA conference. She always has a smile on her face and a positive attitude. This year's recipient of the John Coombs Leadership Award is Ariel Turner.
Good morning. Perfect. It's great to see you all here today for this great, exciting event, especially for the people in the first 3 rows. I have the honor this morning of presenting the Richard Layton Commitment to Underserved Populations Award. My name is Gino Gianola. I graduated from class 8, so 40 classes later, here you all are. That's wonderful. I'd like to read just a short portion of the MEDEX mission statement. You've heard a lot about it so far, but it's the thing that has kept me teaching for the last 30 plus years, and as a preceptor before that. And in fact, speaking of preceptors, are there any preceptors in the audience today? And if so, please stand, because we'd like to recognize and thank you. If it wasn't for our preceptors, our students wouldn't have a very good clinical experience. So someday, in the next 6 months to 1 year, maybe even 18 months, somebody may call you folks in those first 4 rows saying, hey, remember when you were a student? We'd like you to take one, even for 4 weeks, even for a week. So be prepared that one of my colleagues or I will be giving you a call. Anyway, the MEDEX statement, our mission statement, the thing that propels all of us on the faculty is that MEDEX Northwest, the University of Washington's Physician Assistant Program, is committed to educating experienced health personnel with diverse backgrounds. Otherwise, it will really be boring. To practice medicine with physician supervision. The program provides a broad competency-based curriculum that focuses on primary care with the emphasis on underserved populations. With this as our mission, we have endeavored to honor those students who have shown an extraordinary continued commitment to underserved populations. We have named this award after one of our early preceptors and my friend, a man who became our role model. Describing Dick Layton is a challenge. If you had met him, you would have seen the twinkle in his eye, his ever-present smile, his elfin beard, and during your conversations with him, he would have made you feel that you were the most important person in the conversation. Let me describe to you the early encounter with this preceptor who I knew for many years. One evening, as darkness fell across the small hamlet of Grandview, Washington, a lonely figure in black leathers rolled up on a motorcycle to a stop in the back drive of a small farmhouse. The figure ambled up the drive to the porch and struck 3 knocks on the door, on this small wooden door. A woman in the house startles and calls to her husband, Dick, answer the door. Someone just got off a motorcycle and I don't like his looks. Dick answers the door and the figure says in an eager and chipper voice, hi, I'm Charlie Hall, your MEDEX student, here to do my preceptorship. Charlie was my classmate, and he did wear leathers, but not always to class. Thus, Dick Smith's 33-year relationship with MEDEX started. Dick Layton started as a preceptor in 1972 while working with the Yakima Valley Clinic in Grandview. A number of years later, he moved to Seattle to become the first director of the family practice residency at Providence Hospital. This hospital served many of the city's low-income and underserved populations. As one of the graduates from the family practice recalled, understanding medical care in the context of family, Dick came by the family practice residence room at 4:55 every Friday evening to tell us to go home. Dick graduated from the 5th medical school class here at the University of Washington in 1954. He served our community providing exemplary leadership. Dick worked with the MEDEX as a member of the MEDEX Advisory Board. It is a privilege for me to present this award to a very deserving individual, honoring my friend and our friend, Dr. Richard Layton. MEDEX attempts to select students for this honor who have a commitment to underserved populations and primary care. And it is difficult for the faculty to identify a single member of your class for this honor. However, we must make that decision. This recipient of this year's Richard Layton Commitment to Underserved Populations Award is a well-written, well-spoken person. In his application to MEDEX, it was noted that he's from a community that was 88% of the population was Hispanic and 50% lived below the poverty line. As a child in the community, ICE, or Immigration Customs Enforcement agents, would frequently come through the community and conduct massive raids. At 17, he found himself in Houma, Louisiana, after Hurricane Gustav, volunteering with the American Red Cross as a CNA and responsible for the care of 150 newly homeless, ill, and injured people. This soon-to-be graduate's evaluation from his 4-month preceptorship, a site MEDEX has used for almost 50 years and is not far from Grandview, included this in his evaluation: always willing to seek experiences, and has followed other providers for labor and delivery or advanced therapies such as suturing and injecting techniques, able to elicit patient support in their care with communication both in English and Spanish. A unique portion of this graduate's application, and I want to quote it, is from his favorite author and poet, Samuel Beckett. Let the weaker or less weak always lean. Let the weaker on the less weak always lean. They might conceivably be valiant together. There's also a portion in this writing that he didn't include that reflects this graduate's look on life, at least in my perspective. The sun comes out at last, that may admire it sink below the horizon. The long moment of brightness with 1,000 colors always stirs my heart. The day of toil has ended, and a kind of ink rises in the east and floods the sky. After many years of preparation and two long years of PA school have ended, we would like Simon Mendoza to come forward and receive a decorated award.
Hi, I'm Karen Wick. I'm the MEDEX Director of Research and Graduate Programs, and it is my privilege to announce the Writing Award for this year. And the Writing Award is given to students at each site who combine technical skill and creativity on the assignments throughout the 2+ years of the program. This year's recipient certainly had creativity and technical skill, used the assignments as a means to reflect on what it means to become a PA, to work collaboratively in the interest of the patient. Also used the assignments as platform to take big, scary subjects like health policy and health delivery systems and identify what that means for the individual patient and what that patient needs and wants. Toward the end of the program, for the bigger project, this student took what we as Americans consume, what we choose to buy, and what that means for agricultural workers in developing countries. So that was just the culmination of a platform for using the writing assignments to consider each individual patient out there. This year, the Writing Award goes to Joshua Lumsden. I also get to announce a couple of awards for the Capstone project. The students start, for the master's students, they start working on this project in the year between the didactic and clinical phases. Then they spend the rest of that year pulling their hair out trying to get the thing completed. And they've done their presentations this week. Everybody writes a paper, and then there is either an oral presentation or a poster presentation. and the faculty vote on 9 categories of awards. The overall Best Capstone Award will be announced in Spokane tomorrow, so that remains a mystery for one more day. But I will announce just a couple of awards here. The students select from a menu of 4 different special courses, and so the faculty vote for an award for each one of those courses. So for the Global Health course, for example, the faculty thought that the award should go to Kimberly Iverson. The faculty also vote on awards based on the oral presentations and poster presentations in each site. I will announce one award here. There are a couple more awards that these students will find tucked behind their certificate. So there are 2 more Seattle awards that a couple of you will find when you get to the end of the morning. For the best oral presentation in Seattle, the faculty thought that this was based on, in fact, a really solid written project, so there was no surprise that the oral presentation was just as solid. And for the best oral presentation in Seattle, the faculty thought that would be Catherine Thompson.
Hi, my name is Lois Thetford, and it is my honor to present the Spirit of MEDEX Award. In a class of rock stars, it's been hard to figure out who should get all these awards because this is such a stellar class. But I'm happy to award this Spirit of MEDEX Award to someone who exemplifies generosity, purpose, very consistent stick-to-itiveness, and a lot of good spirit for the class, for the group being there. This award is for a person who is the youngest of 11 children and had many medical experiences early in life, and has been an exceptional classmate to his class. Ismail Jata.
Seeing I'm the oldest faculty member and actually can remember the person that's going to present the next award, I've been asked to talk about him. Almost 50 years ago, a motley crew of 14 military veterans, special forces, special ops, and special people came to Seattle to help participate in the creation of a new profession. With a learned culture of hearts and minds, these 14 young men went on to grand careers, and one of these early travelers was Steve Turnipseed, who was my friend, my fellow veteran, and today will present one of our new awards. Steve, would you like to come forward and present this award?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this auspicious occasion for Class 48. It certainly is a far removed site from where we started at Class 1. Whether you are the proud recipient of a BS, MS, or MPH, or master's degree, you're graduating from an extraordinary institution. You are poised to do extraordinary things. The dedication of the University of Washington School of Medicine, the faculty, and the very high caliber teaching, and its importance to academic and clinical research, plus its patient care records, allows the university to be one of the foremost, as mentioned earlier, in this world. As Seattle campus graduating class of 2016, you deserve the respect and admiration and you've even excelled at an exceptional academic demanding class that you've competed in. As I look out from the podium, I know that for decades to come, you will be helping in the primary care fight to save lives, to help solve medical mysteries, and add to two new technologies to build on what you have learned and what you have accomplished here. MEDEX is a name, is a title, is a profession, is a concept by which we shall all live forever after today, as far as the class of graduating students. I completed my academic training at the Seattle campus of the University of Washington in 1968. And I had a preceptorship at Group Health of Puget Sound on Capitol Hill in the Central Family Practice Clinic and also Central Hospital. Back then, in the old days, there were no PA role models or examples to follow, so we made our own, doing things that we needed to do to complete the mission that we were given as being primary care providers. Later years, I ventured into administration and became a Central Region Manager and Administrator, and further went on to develop the first alcohol and drug treatment program for Group Health of Puget Sound, because I saw that there was an area of primary care that had unmet needs. Later in my career, I worked in the city of Seattle as a public health officer for South Seattle and had extraordinary experiences, and it opened my eyes to the unbounding opportunities that you have before you, or you will have before you, as a PA provider or as a MEDEX. Some of the greatest challenges in medicine are yet to be bordered or met, and they border on the issues of social, ethical, political, and primary healthcare concerns. And you are venturing into that area where you're going to actually have the opportunity to make inroads and do that. So I never realized that I would wear so many hats as a MEDEX when I graduated in '68, but the opportunity presented itself and I seized upon it. And I am asking you, or actually telling you, that in your future, there will be many, many opportunities and many, many avenues that you're going to approach in your healthcare profession, in primary care. And I only ask you to be open and enthusiastically seize upon the opportunities, however you find them. As a future MEDEX healthcare provider, much will be expected of you, and I urge you to recognize with your new name comes a broader responsibility. A poet, Bill Yates, wrote, though the leaves of the tree are many, the root is one. And I hope that each of you will always remember that while the leaves of MEDEX providers are many, the root is one, and that is the primary care provider of health care. So on behalf of those persons whose lives you've already touched in your past history, and those that you will touch in the future, I want to say thank you. Thank you for working so hard, preparing so well. But I would also suggest, as it has been mentioned earlier, that you also say thank you. And thank you foremost to your family, your friends, and those who have supported you through this process. Because without that help, you would not be where you are today. So, I also want you to say thank you to your faculty, your professors, and the staff of the MEDEX program who put so much time and effort into teaching and sometimes even prodding you. But last and not least, I want you to say thank you to your colleagues, because without their support, and I saw this firsthand last night at the dinner, without their support and motivation, you would not be here today. I'm here today to award the famously named Stephen D. Turnipseed Veterans Award. This award is awarded to an outstanding veteran of the MEDEX for service to country, class, and community. This award recognizes a MEDEX graduate who is a military veteran for distinguished, outstanding leadership in the MEDEX class, and exceptional meritorious service within the local community. And we are delighted that you could join us in recognizing the diverse contributions made by Janina Tanat Brown. Thank you. Janina was an Army Reserve member for 8 years and a healthcare specialist, a combat corpsman, based at Fort Lewis, Washington. Who was formerly trained as an ear, nose, and throat specialist at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. She's also a recipient of the Commander Scroll Achievement Award from the commander of the 232nd Medical Battalion of the 32nd Medical Brigade, AMED School. She is a distinguished honor graduate of that same school. She is the recipient of the U.S. Army National Defense Service Medal, Army Service Medal, a Good Conduct Award. She has worked in inpatient rehabilitation at St. Luke's. She's worked in the emergency department at Skyland Hospital in White Salmon, Washington. She trained as a surgical physician assistant at Madigan Army General Hospital. Prior to entering the MEDEX program, Janina was a volunteer medical assistant at Health Point Community Health Center in Seattle, Washington. She was an ENT volunteer of the Health Reserve Corps. She also worked as audiology technician at Sweetest Medical Center. And with a varied and extensive background, she's also worked as a home health care provider prior to becoming a MEDEX graduate. Janina was born in the Philippines, attended the University of the Philippines, received a bachelor's degree. She also was a tutor instructor at the University of the Philippines. Among her many stated goals or concerns, Janina lists children, economic empowerment, education, environmental health, human rights, science and technology, and social services. Janina is graduating from the Northwest MEDEX program as a Master in Clinical Health degree. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in my award to Gina.
So I want to thank Mr. Steve Turnipseed for coming up and delivering that award. I should also say that for those who don't know, PAs have the opportunity to join the American Academy of Physician Assistants. It's our national organization, and it was a MEDEX graduate, Mr. Steve Turnipseed, who helped co-found the American Academy of Physician Assistants. So he's a little bit, he's not very good at coming up and telling you all the things he's accomplished, but he's very accomplished as a MEDEX graduate of Class 1. So how's everybody doing? Need to get up and stretch? Graduates need to get up and stretch for a minute? All right, we're going to start handing out some awards. This is the point in the ceremony where we're going to shuffle the stage around, get ourselves a moment to kind of set up the stage, and then we're going to give some certificates out. All right. I also wanted, this is also the opportunity for those in the audience who may have been a little bashful and wanted to come down, although I was very impressed by those who were like, yeah, down in front. This is the opportunity to do the same. When your graduate comes across the stage, feel free to come down and take a photo of them, but give us a couple of minutes to change the stage. And I want to remind the graduates, don't disappear at the end of this, because we want to get that last photo. If you want to join that wall of fame, this is that opportunity, all right? All right, thank you. Give us a couple of minutes and we'll start the show.
I would now like to introduce the Seattle Class 48 Master of Clinical Health Services recipients. Ellie Andrews. Kyle Beal. Janina Tandok Brown. Megan Eileen Dippe. Jocelyn Engler. Margaret English. Tony Fadich. William Travis Fan. Michelle Cherie Fonseca. Fred Garnica. Garten. Kimberly Iverson. Ismaila Jatta. Carrie Ann Johnson. Megan B. Johnson. Mickey Kander. Jenna L. Kruger. Christy Lang. Aaron Tudor Ledden. Joshua Lumsden. Gabriel Marco. Hamad Marzouk. Simon Mendoza. Remy Ombati. Sunshine Amber Pilley. Jason Ray. Celeste Richardson. Angela Joy Romero. Rochelle Roth. Corey Gilson Rubenfield. Courtney Jo Sanderson. Julie Scott. Rick Smith. Joel Stegan. Catherine M. Thompson. Samantha Thompson. Richard Torres. Ariel Turner. Julie Ann Williams. Kim Allen Wilson.
So would the graduates please stand? and face the audience. On behalf of the MEDEX program at the University of Washington School of Medicine and Department of Family Medicine, I present to you the 2016 graduates, Class 48 from Seattle. So I want to thank everyone for attending. This ends the formal ceremony. I would like to get the graduates up on stage for one final photo. Thank everyone for coming. Also, if you'd like to come down and get that one last photo of the class as well, feel free to do so. Go out and do great things. We have a lot of expectations still for you all. Again, the world is in need of individuals such as you. Do us proud, and welcome to the alumni.
Got it.